Jasmine Richards is a political prisoner in the United States. You heard me right. This woman was arrested, charged, and convicted of lynching, although she did not lay a hand on a single person. Let me explain. Anytime you attempt to prevent a police officer from arresting someone, you can be charged with the crime of lynching. Now, how ridiculous is that? In this particular clip from the Roland Martin show, you're going to see exactly what happened, which was she complained about the handling of one of the protesters at a Black Lives Matter rally. This woman just so happens to be the head of the Pasadena chapter of the Black Lives Matter movement. She was targeted by the police, and not on the scene, but a couple of days later was arrested and charged with lynching. For those of you who are not aware of the makeup of Pasadena, California, Pasadena, California is basically an all-white town for the most part. There are a few pockets of Hispanics and almost no pockets of the black community. There are some, but not a lot. For this woman to be convicted of lynching is an abomination. Now, she faces up to 4 years with a minimum of 6 months. If there's going to be any justice whatsoever, this woman needs at the minimum to get probation. And if I were the Black Lives Matter Pasadena chapter, I would appeal this, because just based on the video itself, number one, lynching is out of the question. You know, if they want to call it or whatever it is, then you would basically say that she was complaining about the treatment of one of the people that the police officers was arresting. But anything other than that is an out-and-out lie. Let me play this clip for the Roland Martin show, which includes the video of exactly what she did.
Now, folks, another big story we want to talk about comes out of California. The organizer for the Black Lives Matter Pasadena, California chapter is facing prison time after being found guilty for committing crimes during a clash with police last year. The entire incident was caught on video. Take a look.
She's only 130 pounds. She doesn't weigh that much. Come on, guys.
Officers arrested Jasmine Richards in August, days after she and others were protesting at a park. Yesterday, a jury found her guilty of attempting to unlawfully remove a suspect from police custody during that protest. Oddly enough, the technical term for that charge is lynching. She's the first black person to ever be convicted of lynching in America. Richards will be sentenced next Tuesday. Joining me on FaceTime from LA is Patrice Cullors, the co-founder of Black Lives Matter. Patrice, what do you make of this particular case here? There were other trials that took place where individuals were found not guilty. What was so different about this one?
Well, I want to be clear. Pasadena, California is a suburb inside LA County. It is the suburb in which Kendrick McDade was murdered by Pasadena police officers. It was a huge issue here in in Los Angeles County, and those police officers have not been held accountable. And so Jasmine was really one of the first people out of Pasadena speaking up and out against the issue of Kendrick. Kendrick was shot in an alleyway. Police officers sat in their car when they shot him. They didn't even get out of the car, and then they ran him over with their car. And so what we're seeing actually is Jasmine Abdullah as a political prisoner.
And so by calling her a political prisoner, first of all, what happened was the moment she was found guilty, they immediately took her away and she'll be sentenced. How many years are we talking about she's facing?
Anywhere from 6 months to 4 years. Obviously, if it's over a year, then it's state prison time.
What's the appeal process? What are you and others plan on doing to help her out of the situation?
We're working with our legal team at this moment to see what are the best options for Jasmine and see what she wants to do. I mean, if folks have ever met her, she is one of our most powerful leaders. She is born and raised in Pasadena. The Pasadena chapter is mostly young black boys, anywhere from 10 to 13 years old. They use that park as their place to organize. And people know Jasmine as the activist, as the organizer inside of Pasadena, and she shows up relentlessly for black folks.
So do you believe that when you look at this, when you look at the sentence given to the brother in Ferguson, who's serving more time than anybody else, when you look at some of these other cases, do you believe that when you have the likes of Bill O'Reilly, Sean Hannity, Megyn Kelly, and others constantly attacking Black Lives Matter, when you hear police officers talk about Black Lives Matter, Donald Trump, when you hear even the FBI director keep talking about this Ferguson effect, do you believe that Black Lives Matter activists have been so effective that there is a very deliberate attempt by law enforcement to take them down?
Absolutely.
Definitely. I mean, this is, if we look back in history, we've seen this happen to organizers, activists, protesters. When we stand up for our rights, black folks in particular, we're the first ones to be taken down by law enforcement, the first ones to be charged, to have trumped up charges. And so this moment in history, we're seeing a resurgence of a black liberation movement, and we're also seeing a resurgence of political prisoners, and unfortunately, Jasmine Abdullah is one of those.
All right, Patrice Cullors, we appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Real quick, want to go to our panel here. Folks, this is, again, there's no doubt in my mind, I've been saying this, the effectiveness of Black Lives Matter, various activists across the country, is putting a level of pressure on police they have never felt, and they cannot handle the scrutiny they're now under.
That's true. I mean, you know, think about it. I mean, at the end of the day, what you have is wide latitude. Police powers have wide latitude. This young person intervened, and in intervening, what they're trying to do is send a message. You cannot stop the police. And you're right. They can't really regulate this Black Lives Matter movement. It is decentralized. It is a more sentiment. And as it forms itself, they can't touch any one place or any other place. What happened in Minneapolis is very clear as well. 2 inquiries allowing the police to do what they've done, but what they can't do is stop the pressure that's being mounted in the streets.
Because also what we see, and again, I'm linking several, we see, they talk about the code of silence with Rahm Emanuel in Chicago. You look at this code of silence that's happening in Baltimore as well, where in the Freddie Gray case. And the bottom line is this here: they are angry at Marilyn Mosby. They're angry at any other DA who chooses to go after them. And there's no doubt in my mind there's a deliberate attempt by cops across this country to slow down, to not actually get involved in policing the streets, because they want to see this happen, because they want to say, we're going to show y'all come after us and hold us accountable, then we're going to show y'all who has power.
The common denominator, though, is who the victims are. Because if the victims were Hispanic or gay, this wouldn't be happening, right? And we really believe that if this was someone else, if these were not African Americans, that this thing would be okay. Of course it wouldn't be okay. So, yeah, I agree with you that it is the pressure on police and all that, but to me it's about the victims and who gets locked up for these ridiculous charges.
Bishop Michael, because you had a look on your face, you want to disagree with me. You better tread real carefully. Ask Snoop Dogg. Will?
So here's the thing. The Black Lives Matter activists have pulled the curtain back on what has been a history of excessive force. That's why they're pushing for things like changing the use of force standard, because right now you can get off unless you can prove that the officer did not have fear for their life to use deadly force, which is a standard that is totally unreasonable, not used anywhere else in the international world. Okay. You got folks, the problem is that when these arrests happen, you need the rest of the community to step up and say that this is not justified, because the issues they're raising are important.
You know, Roland, all I have to say, you know, I better be very carefully on this one. All I'm going to say is, look, if police are in the process of arresting someone, I don't think you should interfere. I don't. I think it's too dangerous. That's why we have cell phones. You try to combat this legally, which Black Lives Matter is doing, continue to protest, etc., bring a lot of attention to these issues. But to get involved, I just think it's foolish.
You don't view the charges as a too much government issue. You don't view the charges.
I didn't say that. But what I'm saying is that she should not have gotten involved with the police.
See, if this was happening in China, you wouldn't be saying this. You wouldn't be saying this.
That's all I'm saying.
You'd be saying, oh my God, China's terrible. What happens here is like magically okay.
No, I didn't say that. I just said that it's dangerous to get involved with.
Well, if that is getting involved, I mean, she wasn't standing in front of a tank in Tiananmen Square. I mean, that is not. She said the girl, whoever she was taking down, doesn't weigh a lot. Be careful. You know, she's not that big.
In the video, I didn't see her literally blocking a police car and getting away.
You don't think it's dangerous for the police to arrest somebody on trumped up
justified in light of police violence? All
right, okay. Sure, Michael, you can chew on that one in the break. Coming up, a high school.
Yeah, so as I stated, this is not the beginning, because this has been going on for a while now, but they are targeting the Black Lives Matter people, and in particular the Black Lives Matter leaders, filing these BS charges against them, and then given whatever the municipality is. And Pasadena, again, I'm telling you, Pasadena is pretty much, it's white and Hispanic. And the black population in Pasadena is not large at all. And I would be very interested in seeing what the makeup of the jury was that found her guilty of lynching.